Okay, so this is about the file sizes. I think most of you know that. Let's see, is this mic going through? I think this mic is working. Let me see. I'm just gonna listen back real quick. I should be seeing something, and I'm not. Let's see. Is this mic going through? I think this mic is working. Let me see. I'm just gonna listen. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. Say never mind. Okay. So, um, here's a file, the RPP size. Why am I not seeing my mouse? So I think most of you know that as a Reaper project file gets bigger, somewhere around a meg, like it used to be, like if you got to a meg, you'd be in real big trouble. But um, performance gets sketchy. Things take a long time to load. Projects generally get sticky. You know what I'm talking about if you worked on DAWs for a while. So some plugins write a ton to it. Like so here's a project file. I'm gonna throw in, let's say, Re-X-Comp, okay, because that's a fairly complicated plugin. It's a multi-band compressor. It's got a lot of parameters and stuff. And just so that, let's just make sure it's actually doing something. So it's got some stuff to store. Let's save the project. It's 2 kilobytes right now. Save it, and okay, so that added a kilobyte by just adding one of these. Okay, and Reaper's project files are human readable, so fine. So here's what Re-X-Comp wrote to the file. So it's like 4 lines of code. So basically that's what it is. So I'm just gonna duplicate this sucker. Duplicate tracks. I'm gonna make 8 tracks. What are we doing with 8? Let's go 16. Or no, okay, I got 12. Let's go 24. Okay, so that's 24 tracks of it. Let me hit save again. So it was 3 kilobytes. Okay, so it's 32 kilobytes now. So each one of those things, it's like added at least a K of information. I'm going to reload the RPP. I'm going to look. Each one of these is 4 or 5 lines of code, whatever. Okay, so that's 24 instances of recomp. Okay, so the file's definitely gotten bigger, but it's nowhere near that 1 meg limit that I really worry about. If you guys have a different size than a meg that starts giving you trouble, or maybe it never gives you any trouble, doesn't seem to be related to RAM so much. This is a pretty powerful computer, but around a meg, 2 megs, whatever, it starts getting sketchy. I was using Tone Booster's EQ4, which I really love today, and it uses very little CPU, uses very little real-time CPU, has a little goofy thing about latency, but you just start and stop, and you're okay with it. That plugin takes very little resources, which is awesome, but it writes a lot to the RPP. So anyway, 24 instances of Re-X-Comp is 32 kilobyte file. Okay, I'm gonna delete all these. So I'm just gonna put 1 track in. I'm gonna save it again. So now we're back down to 3 kilobytes. Okay, so I'm gonna add 1 instance of bias effects. Okay, so watch this. Okay, I loaded it. Reaper's stuck. It's going to take a while to load up. Okay, now I can move around. I'm going to hit save. Look at that. Just that one plugin added 200 and basically 249, 250 kilobytes of information. That's a lot, and that just got hammered. So imagine, like I said, one meg is about when things start getting sketchy. Um, 4 instances of bias effects is going to get you over that 1 meg. So yeah, your projects get sketchy. It's just something I showed in Positive Grid. Hopefully they're working on it. But the real bummer is for me. I'm gonna delete this. Back to 3K. I'm gonna put. I'm telling you, I really like this EQ. Tone Booster's EQ. It's just, to me, it's awesome. See what this did just by adding an instance. Okay, so look at that. It's 100 kilobytes. So if I put 24 of these on here, we're going to see some pain. But it barely uses any CPU. I mean, this is an absolutely awesome plugin. Watch, even that zero. Sorry. If I hit start and stop, that'll actually even go away too. But look, that's using very little CPU. The performance meter. Basically nothing. I mean, absolutely, this is just beautiful. But you see again, what do I get? 8 or 9 or 10 of these, and I'm over that 1 meg limit. So that's a bummer. I'm talking to Tone Boosters right now about maybe what they can do about it, and I'm talking to Justin as well. So hopefully Justin will save us like he always does. But I'm going to take a look at some of the other. The only thing that I could compare to this FabFilter EQ4, because it is a dynamic equalizer and it is capable of doing zero latency. I think you would have to look at like DDMF's EQ, and then I'm not sure what multiband you would use, or maybe. So I really want to see what the FabFilter EQ does, even though FabFilter EQ is not as powerful as, in certain ways, it's not as powerful as Tone Booster's EQ4 because it's not a dynamic EQ, I don't think. But you know what? I don't have Fab. I thought I had the demo for FabFilter. So that's the compressor. Let me see if I don't have the. Oh, I swear I had the FabFilter demo downloaded. Let me see if. Let me see if I have it in my downloads. Just gonna grab it. Sorry. I mean, whatever. If you're here, I grab the EQ and the multiband compressor. Sucks because you'd have to run 2 plugins to get that same. To get what Tone Booster's EQ4 can do, but I want to have an idea of. I think these are also Juice plugins. Like maybe it's Juice plugins that we have a problem with. So let me. I'm gonna close Reaper because I'm gonna be. these things are expensive, man. So I don't know if I really want to go for it, but and it's a real bummer because I used to use everything just free plugins so everybody could follow along, and I got bit by a bug this year for some crazy reason. I've been testing out all this junk, and I probably should just go back to what I used to do before. I did buy Plugin Doctor, and we were testing like different compressors with each other, and it was crazy how close I could get with Recomp to a lot of the other compressors, unless the attack was kind of long. Then it was kind of screwy, which is a bummer. But back at 3 kilobytes. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what the Fab Filter EQ writes compared to the what did we say? It was like 100K or 99K or something from the Tone Boosters one. Here's Pro Q. Hopefully, the evaluation version writes just as much junk to the thing as the real version. So what do you do with this? I just double click points. So I'm going to add a couple points. I want this fair. So I've got 4 EQs on. In fact, I'm gonna turn some stuff. God, this is such a pretty plugin. Okay, so I'm definitely doing something here. Okay, so there's parameters to store. So there's saving it. Oh wow, see why did this reset? Yeah, it's so weird. Okay, so this wrote 2K. Okay, tell you, I don't know so Pro Q is not a dynamic EQ, right? Is anybody? Can they tell me? Yeah, I don't see anything that says this is dynamic. Maybe it is. Well, I don't see a threshold or attack and release or anything, so I'm assuming this isn't like a dynamic EQ, or if it is, it's like a automatic one or something. It's not going to have a I don't see attack at release threshold or standard compressor controls. So I'm going to have a look at what this says. So it wrote a lot more than ReXComp did, but still, it's not. Let me show you something. Okay, I'm gonna put an instance of Tone Boosters Pro Q or whatever you call it, EQ4, which I love again, which I love. I'm gonna save this. I'll take a look at this. So this is Fab Filter Pro Q. I remember ReXComp wrote like 4 or 5 lines. Here's Tone Boosters. Now I'm just going to scroll. I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm going to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And finally, we're at the end here. And if I refresh this, look at that. Look at that. It's huge. So hopefully we can get that fixed because honestly, I would rather use this EQ than the Fab Filter one. I mean, it's just so cool. It's got everything I want. I know Fab Filter has like some kind of EQ matching, and wow, that's so pretty. It does some other stuff, but I mean, having Tone Booster's EQ4 is like having a zero latency version of TDR Nova. So I mean, that's really what I want. In fact, and I actually like it a little bit better. It's easier for me to use. I really like this plugin. It's awesome. To write all that stuff, it does make things difficult. see one more thing. So get an idea of okay. We look at what's the compressor Pro C2. I keep thinking, man, I just want to buy these things, but there's so much money. I just bought the Melda free stuff. I mean, yeah, I bought the free one, but you register it and it can help you with the GUI, but it's just not it's just not as good. And it was a third of the price of one of these too, which I should have just bought this. Let's see what this writes. So, wow, and this did this again. Why does this keep removing my Wow, it's still only 3K. Hold on, that's weird. See what it wrote. Wow, yeah. So C2 doesn't even write that much. Wow. Okay. Um, does use quite a bit more CPU than Recomp would, right? Let's see. I'll show you what Recomp looks like on here. Recomp, it's not even registering. If I put 10 of these on here, I bet you I'd get a number. Hey, where's the rest of everybody? So here's all Recomp wrote. It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's not much. So it's Pro C2. I mean, that's yeah, it's going to eat a lot more CPU than this is still a concern. Like I really want to. Oh man, I really want to use that EQ4. I just bought it. It's awesome, but if it's going to make that kind of trouble, what am I going to do?